Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special video overview, and as you may have guessed with the product that you see in front of me, it's on the GoPro Hero 3, specifically the Black Edition, as that is the model that I have in front of me. Along with the GoPro Hero 3, I also have a allotment of accessories and mounting pieces for the camera, and I'm going to be splitting these videos up into several videos. The first one here is just kind of giving you a rundown of my initial assessment of what I have in front of me, both in the camera as well as the mounting kits and things like that that I've purchased already. What's going to follow is going to be an actual review of the camera in the near future once I get enough hands-on experience with it that I feel comfortable doing an actual review on it. Following that, I have several other accessories alongside of these mounting accessories, and I probably will get to the mounts eventually, but I want to get right into a few other items that actually some product companies and people that are actually in the designing of items have sent me to do reviews on. And I want to make sure I get them in short order as fast as I can, but I definitely, just like with the camera, I want to have a hands-on experience with it, and I want to actually give you my honest opinion on it, so I don't get my opinions bought. I'm going to tell you the truth right out in front. So that said, this is my GoPro Hero 3 as it currently stands. Kind of added a few items here since I got it originally, but when I bought the camera originally, I bought almost every single one of these, except for a couple. The only one that I don't have on display here is the handlebar seat post mount and the vented helmet mount, which this one's currently on my bike. It's pretty obvious, it mounts on the handlebar or a seat post. And the vented helmet mount, which I can see if I can't grab here shortly, is actually on my helmet right now. And that one's actually very useful if you're a biker at all, or you can actually use the vented helmet mount, actually vented helmet strap, not only just to strap onto a vented helmet of some kind, but you can actually even strap it on like a backpack strap. There's a couple good videos online that I can definitely recommend. A couple video guys that I currently subscribe to because, well, they offer some pretty neat reviews and videos on this product specifically. So, with that said, let's just a quick rundown of exactly what we have here. Obviously, these are the mounting accessories, but the camera itself, when you get the camera, it's going to come mounted in this nice little case, and I'm not the big one for unboxing, so if you want to watch an unboxing video, search an unboxing video. So this is the GoPro Hero 3, and one thing that you'll notice right off the bat, if you actually get the camera in your hand, is how to open it, obviously, to get to the camera, because it comes in the housing too. And this is where a lot of people actually online will have different opinions. Some people really like the new matching or locking system. Other people don't. Specifically those, I guess, are probably more familiar with the Hero 2, and maybe even the original Heroes. And I don't have extensive experience with the original ones. However, in my personal opinion, I like it, because if I have a camera and I'm buying a waterproof camera, most likely I'm going to be taking it into areas that I don't want water in there to damage the camera. So with that said, I don't want to be able to just pop it out real quick. Now that also said, it's not that hard to take out, to be honest. So I'll show you real quick, and I'm sure I know there's lots of videos out there that do this exact same thing. But basically, it's a simple mechanism, but there's a safety latch, kind of like on safety sprays and things like that, where you have to do you have to kind of hold a mechanism in and then use the actual trigger. Same thing on this. There's a little switch here, right here. You can see the arrow that just kind of spring-loaded, and I wonder if I can get a good view of it. Just kind of spring-loaded. You can kind of see the white there. So you move that over to the side, and while you're holding it over there, you can actually just pop. Oop, you know what? I'm going to do that again. So while you're holding this over, like that, you can just pop this up. And then it's just a simple scissor mechanism, basically. Standard latch, like suitcases, things like that, or briefcases. But once you use it and you pop it down, it locks this back into place. And all it is this little hook right here that's grabbing onto this little clear plastic piece. Kind of hard to see probably, right there. And that little hook grabs onto it and just doesn't allow you to lift up on the bar. Now obviously once you do that, it obviously is just a a quick latch, and the door falls down, and out comes the camera. So the seal is obviously this big white strip. So as soon as you were to even lift this up, even just a little bit like that, you now have popped the seal, and any moisture, if you're underwater, that's the camera's toast. That said, keep it nice and tight. It's not going to do that. And of course, in this case, if you're, which I've found mountain biking, if it's not in your hand doing things and it's on your helmet or it's on your shoulder or however you're mounting it, and something was to grab onto this, you could see it actually popping open. That's also the case actually if it was easy like that, if it was on my helmet. When I'm mountain biking, branches and all sorts of stuff is already grabbing onto this camera. And I don't have to worry about it falling out. All I have to worry about is, you know, probably the mount here breaking somehow with it, if it got grabbed on so hard that it actually was to break the plastic, or the strap or whatever you have actually going on there letting loose and coming off. And that's when you come kind of into leashes and leashing this system up. And I have a video coming up shortly that has a remedy for this with a really, really simple and very elegant leash system. So that's in the future. So that's how you open it. Obviously, when you buy the camera, it comes just with this housing and the camera. The battery compartment on the back has a little door here. You basically pop it over just like any little battery door, and it has a little spring in it, and the door pops off. That's the battery door, and then there's the battery. Now the battery does come with this nice little tab. You can see that nice little tab, and you can actually just pull the battery straight out. Now, I've already used the camera, I've already recharged it a couple times, and I've noticed real quick, this is not much juice. On this camera, this does not last very long. You will not want to have this camera on unless you are filming. If you are not filming, you will want to turn it off because you will go through these battery packs quick. So that's the first accessory that you would want to buy. Either A, if you like to have the smaller, lower profile, and you're only going to be filming small snippets at a time, get at least one extra battery, if not 2 extra batteries, because you will use them, especially if you're going to be filming more than, say, an hour. What I also got here is the battery backup. Or the battery backpack, I'm sorry. Already messing up, imagine that. Battery backpack is one thing you'll notice on the camera itself. There is a nice long port on the one side here. That port is for expansion things. One of those expansion things is this, the battery backpack. Now, they came up with a really ingenious system. All it does to basically mount onto the camera is on the side here, on the opposite side of the expansion port here, slot, there's a little hook, there's a place where this hook can actually hook onto. So I can hook it onto here, and now it's attached, and now it's all about pushing that expansion point into it. Now you've got a thicker camera with a USB slot, obviously, for this to charge. And one thing I didn't show you on the side of the actual camera itself, I'm going to pull this out so we don't get confused. Just the camera. There's a little door here you can actually remove with your little, just pull with your little slot with your finger here. You can actually remove this little door, and that's where all the HDMI and the USB slot are, as well as the memory card. Now I have a 64 gig class 10 SanDisk card in there right now, but that's where the memory card is, and it's just spring loaded, so if I push on the memory card, it's going to come out, and I can slide the whole memory card out. And there's a little micro SD. I'm going to put it back in there so I don't, and she'll click into place just like normal. And then you can keep this little door in there. I keep it on there just to keep the dust out, even if I'm, you know, obviously if it's in its case it's fine, but it keeps the dust out, keeps everything looking good and fresh. Back of the battery backpack, as soon as I put it on here, this now doubled the runtime of the camera. So if you're doing longer shots and you're not able to get, you know, obviously you'd have to stop and replace the battery all the time, you can put the battery backpack on and get a twice as long shot. Now I did this specifically because when I'm mountain biking, I don't want to have to worry about changing out batteries. This just gives me a longer time. Also when I'm mountain biking, I don't need the LCD touch backpack, which is another optional accessory that looks basically the same thickness and everything. It looks like the battery backpack, but it's a touchscreen backpack, and we'll go into that here in a minute. But one thing I did want to show you is the difference in the display. So when you actually power this puppy up, one thing you'll see when you get into the camera mode, on the bottom here, you're seeing there's a 3-bar battery meter. Now, I don't know if it actually does it on the fly, but let's find out. If I hook on the battery backpack, now it went from a 3-bar to a 6-point, if you see it right there. On the top one, it's telling me the battery backpack meter. That'll run down first, and then it'll go to the internal camera memory and start running down. So in all theory, it'll use the battery backpack, and then it'll start going to the internals. So if you were recording and you want to just change out the backpack, obviously your battery's internal battery life, the internal battery on the camera will actually be the last thing to run down. So that's that. So we're going to go into other camera functions shortly. I want to get through a few of these accessories at least. So that's the battery backpack. Gives you that double expanded range. Now obviously when you use the battery backpack, let's go to the housing, go in the original, now this back door won't work. However, when you buy the battery backpack or any of the other things, they know that what came with the original thing. So what you can do is you can pop off this door. Let me go through that to show you how that worked. So I'm going to take this out so I don't drop it. The bottom hinge, and you know what? I'm going to take off this nice little mount I had sitting on there. And basically these mounts work is just these screws. There's 2 sizes of screws. Just take that off and now you're down to just the housing itself. So there's the hinge right here. And it actually is there's an open hinge, you can kind of see, where you just basically take this and you take a thumb and you just kind of pry it. And that way it doesn't break that, and this comes out. Now I'm assuming over time that this little guy right here is going to loosen up. Now this is obviously replaceable, but this is going to loosen up over time. It's not going to keep that tight all the time. And that doesn't really have anything to do with the seal, aside from holding this in place. Now obviously if this starts breaking, then your seal's shot. But loosening up a little bit is probably not a big deal. One other thing to notice, this is a watertight door that comes with it. They also give you a non-watertight door that has holes in it. Now this, once you put it on, obviously there's no watertight issue now. It's not watertight. However, you get better sound quality when you're recording if you actually have that open back door. So let's pretend we're going to make it watertight for the battery backpack, and here is what they give you, a larger back door. So just like the other one came off, this new one pops on, snaps on like that. You can take the camera with the battery backpack put on it, and now everything works just like it did when you got it, except for now the camera is thicker. So now same thing with the battery backpack. They also give you a door that is vented all the way around, not out the back but out the sides. So there's basically holes on all 4 sides, so you get much better audio quality out of it, aside from just being watertight, things like that. This is actually what I use usually mountain biking, because I'm not really worrying about water so much. Now if I'm doing a wet ride, or if I'm doing a ride that I'm going through a lot of streams, then I'll probably put the watertight door on. But this gives you a lot better audio quality, in my opinion at least. It sounds a lot less muffled, things like that. They also give you, with the battery backpack, they give you this door and the back door. Now when you get the touch backpack, and that's what I'm going to go into now. So that was the battery one. Set that back. Oh, there's a little case. They give you these nice little cases for them too. The touch backpack, very similar, except for what it actually adds is a touchscreen to the back of it. Doesn't expand the battery life, although there's no battery built into this. Reduces the battery life because obviously now you have a display to keep up with as well. Does just like before, except for if I turn it on. But now you have and it is touchscreen, so you can actually change settings within the actual piece itself. So right now I'm at 720p. You can see there. Kind of put it at an angle so you can kind of see. If I want to go with, you know, I can hit on the resolution and change it to say 1080. Now I'm at 60 frames per second instead of 120. Change your field of view and everything like that. Hit the X and go back to the actual live view. Now that is neat and everything, and there's definitely some certain things like if you need to frame up a shot, this is great. But especially if you have an open range where you can actually keep this on a tripod or something like that, and you actually have the ability to get external power source to it, then this is great because you can actually see what you're actually filming. But that's not a huge necessity or anything like that in most things. But this is definitely useful for doing, you know, setting up frame shots, things like that. But that's the LCD display. It also comes with a few accessories as well. Same, they actually give you a little different open vented back door. This one actually has the whole back panel replaced, removed just like the two sides and as well as the whole back. The back's obviously so you can get to the touchscreen. They also give you the standard watertight door that, like I showed you in the original with the battery backpack. But they also give you another watertight door, and I'm assuming, I haven't really read everything up on it yet, but this isn't watertight to 197 feet. I would doubt, because the back door here is actually a thin film that allows you to actually control the touchscreen. You can actually touch the screen. Now, you cannot control the touchscreen underwater, because just like any touchscreen, it obviously uses your skin. And underwater it won't do you any good. However, as soon as you come out of water, you can actually use the touchscreen without actually opening up the camera. So in this case, in rain situations, things like that, this would be a really nice situation. Going underwater, I would be much more apt to go for this guy, because all this is holding this in is a rubber seal all around here with tape or, you know, some kind of adhesive. So in all reality, if I was to push on this really hard, I could actually force it through. So if you're in certain circumstances, this is great. Others, not the best thing to go with. But it's nice that they give you it, because it's definitely something that's useful. So let's see, where were we? I'm going to actually put the battery backpack back on, because I keep it on anyway when I'm having it around the house, so if I'm going to grab it, at least I have extra battery life. So that's the camera. Mounts. First mount I tried out was the suction cup mount. Suction cup mount is this bad boy. Now, most mounts come with other accessories to change things up. Like I actually have, I think this is the accessory that came with it. It allows you to change the angle of it if you want to film this way versus this way. So it has a little extra little guy here that you can actually remove and just go straight onto the mount here. But basically all it is the ability for you to basically stick it onto a hard surface, lock it down, and then this is nice and secure. And if you can see here, I'll do it on the table here real quick. Basically, you push down on the center of it, and then you push the lock down, and now this thing is solid. They say like 70 miles an hour. You can go like 70. If you put it on your vehicle, you can go to like 70 miles an hour, and it'll stay put. I went about 60, and it didn't move. So I still leashed it up. So if this was to let loose, my camera wasn't going onto the street. It was going to hang either on the side of my car or obviously on the top or on the hood or wherever like that. Wherever I had it mounted, I definitely leashed it up. I found it really cool. If you have it on the hood, leash it to the windshield wiper blades. Worked pretty cool. But that said, that's the quick mount. Now, when I'm using this, the camera's going to be on the outside of the car. So either A, you have to start it before you get in the car, or B, you have to use yet another accessory. This accessory actually comes with the camera, and that is the remote, the Wi-Fi remote. This little guy is pretty neat. Not something I'm going to use every day or every time I use the camera, but it is definitely pretty neat, especially when you couple this with the ability to not only change modes, but also, I mean, obviously record. It'll tell you all the statistics of the camera when it's booted up. And I'll show you how to set this up real quick. And you can do it with this in the case or not, which is nice. So I'm going to actually, first I'm going to turn the camera on first. In the camera, there's 2 buttons. There's 3 actually. The shutter, the actual record button, things like that, or the select feature. And then one right here, this is the one that's the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi feature. So if I actually push and hold this, it'll turn the Wi-Fi on, which is that little blue light that just went on. And then here it's going to actually come up with a menu as soon as I push it again. So I'm going to click it. It says GoPro app. I'm going to select the select button up here. And I'm going to go to Wi-Fi RC, which is the Wi-Fi remote control. There's also the GoPro app, which is actually a smartphone app, and I'll show you how to use that here in a moment. So let's go ahead and select that. And current, because I'm not going to do a different remote, so select that. Now the Wi-Fi is on, and what it's going to do is, this is the remote. If I push the power button on the remote, it should find it. So I just turn the remote on. There we go. Now it's telling me it found, and I was looking for the camera. There we go. Found the camera. Should tell me the exact same stuff that's on the screen here. Now on here it's actually telling me, if I can get the zoom right so you can see it, 1080p at 60 frames. Right now it's 0 seconds. It just stayed there. It tells me the battery life. There's obviously 2 dots missing now, so you can see how much battery goes down in this damn thing. When I hit record, if I was to sit right here, I'll show you right here. I'll hit record. So the red light blinks on here, and now it's actually recording. It'll tell me, give me a timer how long I've recorded for. So there I'm at about, I'll say 10 seconds. I'll stop. So there we go, done. The nice thing is, if this is obviously, if it's on the roof of your car, the hood of your car, if it's facing away from you, if I hit record on here, I'll show you back here again. You can see the little red light blinking back here now. So it's still, either if you're seeing from the back or the front, there's a red light blinking, and then you'll know when you're actually recording, which to me is a very, very nice feature. But that's the Wi-Fi remote. You can change modes from photo to camera to picture view, so you can actually view the pictures, to time, and of course go into settings. And if I go into settings, let's find out real quick, because I haven't really played around with the settings from the remote. Hit the record button. I can actually change the mode. So right now I'm in 1080 60 wide. Maybe I'll show you this rather than me do it from here. So obviously the camera, you've seen it on the camera already. Okay, so we have the remote here. What I'm going to do is hit mode till I get to, oh, I just went past it. Let's go back to settings. There we go, and I hit the record button here, which is the select. So it's telling me 1080 at 60 frames per second. Let's go ahead and change that. Let's go back to 720 for giggles. So if I hit 1080, I can actually select what I want, 720, and then it'll give me 60, but it'll also give me the 120 frames per second. And I apologize if this video is no good. And then keep it wide and exit. And then you can actually change a lot of other settings. You can change your picture settings, 12 megapixels pictures, single camera or multiple camera. Let's see here, 30 frame per second continuous shooting. You can change your capture settings. I'm not going to change any of these. You can go into setup. You can change wireless controls from here as well. You can also erase and even format the camera from here. Exit, and then we're back to video mode. So yeah, that is the remote. And pretty nice little piece. The other thing is another one I'll go into here shortly, and that is the app remote for the iPhone. And to set that up, just like before, oops, sorry, we're going to go into, oops, sorry, push on the Wi-Fi button and go into Wi-Fi remote control. Oop, I hit the wrong one. So hit the select button, and then go down to GoPro app, select, and now it's changing over to app mode. And then let me grab my phone. Alright, here's the next step. So first we have to go to the settings, and we have to go to our Wi-Fi, and we have to actually choose the Hero 3 network. So there's the GoPro Hero 3, which I've already set up with my phone. I've already done the password and everything like that. So now I'm connected to the Hero, and you have to do that first. And then you go over to your GoPro Hero apps. Now this is obviously in the App Store for free. It's called, you just search GoPro. And what you can do with this, you can actually do complete control. So if I select control, now it's going to start to, it's finding the camera, so it's found the camera. Oh, now you can actually hear it. And it's going to have a delay because it is Wi-Fi. But there's the actual view. So if I put my hand in front of it real quick, here, you can see it obviously. Same thing as if I was to pick it up and look over here at the GoPro stuff. So there it is. The nice thing is you can hear it, you can do everything from it. You can also turn that feature off by just hitting the I, and then now it's not doing a preview anymore. But you can obviously go into the settings here, go into the settings mode. You can change, go into settings here. You can change any of the stuff. So video, let's go back to 1080, and now it's going to go back to 60 frames per second because that's the best you can do with 1080 on this one. You can change everything. And then you can locate the camera, you can do a preview for it like we did before, and there we go. And obviously I'm going to turn that back off so it's not doing that, but, or actually I can turn it on, or you can just start hitting record, and that's the red button. So, or if you hit the power button, there you go, you can just hear the camera turned off. So if you're framing up your shot and you don't want to, you still want to do the external backpack for the battery, what you can do is you can just use an app. So the app for the iPhone, they also have it for Android. That way you can frame up your shot without actually even disconnecting the camera. You can see what you're doing, and you can even use that as a remote without actually using this guy. Now, now obviously the camera's turned off, but the Wi-Fi is on because it's still looking for, you know, I can connect it to it with my phone. My phone's still connected to it actually. So I'm going to actually click on the side button here again, the Wi-Fi button. Click and hold. Now the Wi-Fi blinks, and she's now off. Now it's not using battery anymore, now it's sitting in a stable state. You leave the Wi-Fi on, obviously it's slowly draining the battery because it's constantly on the lookout for it. So that's that. Now I'm going to go through the rest of these real quick because they are just simple mounts. I have the anti-fog inserts are pretty nice because if you're doing things in humid climates, which here in Iowa it's going to get humid here pretty soon, you throw one of these inside in the actual case here, and any fogging that could potentially happen should get sopped up by one of these anti-fog guys. The nice thing is once they come in a pack of 10, I believe is what they actually is in here. But the beautiful thing is that you can reuse these. You can bake them. You put them back. You put them in the oven on a baking sheet for however length of time, and you can actually reuse them. They say on the Hero3 you use 3 inserts exactly as shown above. So they have a little diagram of 2 on the bottom, 1 on the side there. And of course it's obviously trying to fit them in there without actually interrupting where the buttons are doing. So that's the fog inserts. Then there's a head strap. Head strap is obviously exactly what you think. It's just a strap that goes on your head, and then you can actually mount the camera on your forehead. And obviously this is nice if you were doing something with your hands and you wanted to show exactly what you're doing, you can mount it here. This is actually something that I'm probably going to use in some upcoming videos that I'm doing on a separate channel, Camp Geeks, that I haven't really messed around with at all yet, and I want to show how to do certain things. This is a personal point of view right from where I'm actually looking. So this is a neat little strap. Wrist strap housing actually comes with housing built into it. This one, right out when I pulled it out of the package, I was kind of like, well, what? It's really neat, but it's kind of funky at the same time. So you know, you tighten it on your wrist, which is I don't even have it set up properly right now for that. But you tighten it on your wrist, and there's a nice this little strap that comes with it, which at first I was kind of wondering what the heck is it for. I'll show you how it comes first. How about that? So it comes like this. You put it on your wrist like I had it before. Maybe I'll speed these videos up. And obviously now it's kind of funky, but you take this strap that comes up, it comes with it like that, and now it's strapped tight against your wrist. Now, all is well and great if you're looking at it like this, but you can't really show people something, oh look at that. It's really, really awkward, and you really can't, it's not really in a good position. Now obviously you can turn this, and so it's a comfortable position where you have a hand on the table and you can just talk to it, and it's interesting. If you're doing some sports, it's kind of neat. But toying around with it and looking at different YouTube videos, trying to figure out other ways to use it, and this one guy came up with a really cool system. So if you put this little black strap that comes with it on like so, and then this kind of dives underneath where the guy currently is, but obviously you should have this on your wrist first. So let's put it back on the wrist exactly how I had it on my wrist the first time. Now, this black guy, I'm going to put him down like that. So now this, you can kind of see this popping up behind it. And now that I have it attached, I can actually come back here and tighten it up some more. Now, I have a camera that's kind of mounted up. And it has, I mean, good spring to spring it back up to upright. Real simple solution to a problem. It's neat. This might be one of those mounts that I would consider highly what you're using it for, whether or not I would actually buy it, because I don't know of a really good use for it yet. I'm sure there definitely are some, but it's pointing to the side, so even if you're doing something with your hand, you're looking off to the side. If this was looking, if you could actually turn this and actually, you know, point it the direction where your hand is going, that'd be kind of neat. But obviously they have some work to do with this specific mount, in my opinion. This might be a mount mechanism that you could actually, I mean, the wrist strap itself is pretty neat, but I think it needs some work, or some toying around with maybe the vented helmet strap, which I gotta toy around with yet. So, tripod mount. Obviously, real quick and easy. Allows you to mount the camera onto a tripod. Simple said. Side mount. This is one that you can actually, comes with an adhesive pad. Allows you to actually mount it on the side of an object, side of a car, side of a helmet, side of whatever. I bought it because, well, I'm sure I can figure out something that I want to mount on the side. It comes with the same exact mounting mechanism that clips in that came with the actual camera, but there's no, there's just adhesive mounts for them as well. But that's what's going to be in there. And then, of course, the vented helmet strap, which I'll show you here shortly. And then the handlebar seat post mount, which I don't have here. It's down in my garage on my bike right now. Last real quick item, I want to show you is that when you get the camera, obviously it comes on this, which you mount directly. And this goes with anything. So if you actually want to mount this directly, there's two different size screws that come with it. There's a small guy. You can see the height difference right there. The small guy and a tall guy. Small guy, I should say first, the tall guy is actually for when you're actually mounting the camera, because it gets this knob out far enough where it's not hindering, it's not hitting on the actual housing. The small guy, you can't really turn very well because it actually hits the housing. It's one real quick thing to keep in mind of, because when you're mounting it direct to an item like this, you're going to use the longer screw, like this. Of course, if I actually pay attention to what I'm doing and not just worrying about the video all the time, right? So now, I mean, obviously I can tighten it up, tight, loosen up, and it can come apart. Or, if you were mounting on some kind of articulating piece where you actually wanted to change the angle, you're not going to use a big guy when you're actually doing these things here, because it would just stick out really far and there's a waste of it and you're not going to have enough of them anyway. Use the small guys for that. And obviously there's a small guy on there already. And then you get this nice articulating arm. And then when you bring the camera up to this guy, whichever way you're facing it, left or right, doesn't matter, you just put it in there. So now you're able to mount the camera with this being able far enough out where you can actually hold onto it. And now you have an articulating mount where you can obviously do some artistic motions to it. The nice thing is that, you know, if you have it mounted on a 45-degree angle, well, you can obviously straighten the camera out, crank these down real nice and tight so it doesn't move even while you're going down the road. They work pretty good. The only one I've had problems with and I'm working on to see where else I can mount it is my handlebar mount on my handlebar, because my handlebar is tapered. So if the mount moves a little bit, it obviously loosens up and then points down and all sorts. Never that much fun. But that's the GoPro Hero 3. That's what I've got. A lot of videos going to be coming out of this specific setup right here, and I can't wait to show you what I'm actually going to be able to do with it. So, with that said, if you have recommendations of things that I can do with it, by all means, write in, comment, post, whichever, message me direct, and I would appreciate any input that you may have for me. With that said, I hope you enjoyed my little overview of the products here. I didn't go through everything, but I went through quite a few of the items here, and I'm looking forward to the reviews that are going to be coming here shortly, as well as the reviews on future products that I already have laid out in front of me. I just got to get to them. I just got to make sure I have time to actually try out the product before I actually do the review, because I don't want to do a unprofessional review on anything. And of course, I don't know if professional is a term, but that I'm going to be using, but I want to give you an honest opinion on everything that I have. So, with that said, comment below, subscribe above. Let me know what you think of my videos. Obviously, this is a little bit longer video than I was originally anticipating, but I kind of got into things that I just kind of kept going into them. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.